This conference will now be recorded.
Today we start on our final system that we're working with in managerial accounting. On Tuesday, we moved to the planning side. So we just been, making journal entries, posting what would happen in manufacturing company. And we have one more system. If you will remember, we began with one product. Then we moved to two products. Now we're going to be looking at one product, but more than one cost center, and we're going to have to add those together. And so let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, so in process of costing, and that's very relevant for here in Houston, where in the Gulf, oil is uh, drilled for and brought out as crude oil. And then it's brought to Houston, Galveston, Louisiana, other locations along the coast, and it's refined into gasoline. So there's two processes. One process in the Gulf, and those costs need to be reviewed and looked at and controlled. And then a second process that's in the mainland. So one product, but two processes. Any questions? We just plan to look at this for one day, and then you have a problem. It's very similar to what we've done, one little change, and you have a problem that, it's already in assignments, which you will complete that problem and then turn that problem in on next Monday. So with process costing, we're just seeing it one time. It sort of continues what we're doing. We're just working with one product. And I want to be able to spend more time with the planning aspects of it. On Tuesday, I'll have a location and assignments for you to submit your products. So you should have a picture or image of the product, and you either have the raw materials costs and the labor costs on your product. So you need to have that for the first 25 points on your project. You need to have that submitted for class on Tuesday. Any question on that?
We get to pick our own product and then we just turn it in. Is that what we're
You have
doing?
you pick a product that you can make because we want to go through the process of making it. So there are examples of products that other students have done. This is a product here that students did a year or so ago. So they actually made this. And so you've got to get something where you buy the raw materials, then you apply labor to get the product made. You don't buy me a finished product. You got to make that product and put it together. Is that understood?
Okay, so we have to turn in a physical original product.
Correct.
Okay.
And probably I want that by the last day of class at the latest. Because when I grade your projects, I'm looking at the product that you made. So you got to get that on campus to me. Okay.
Is this product turned in individually or as a team? Are we picking one product for each team, or are we picking each person, or we all have to turn in a product?
One product per team.
Roger that.
And I've already worn myself out grading those 10 quizzes that everybody attempted to turn in. And boy, that was some grading.
I bet it was some doing too.
All right.
I saw some of everything. Uh,
You should have just let us make it, and
I gave you 10 so you'd be ready for that quiz. And really worked on the 10. It was a big, it was a help. And you saw where you were. And so, just getting to those, I don't know what I would have done if I had graded them earlier. But you're supposed to work on one book, and that was pretty interesting. Uh, for the first time, we had a team that only had one person in there to work on the joint product costing. So I guess the team leader was expected to finish everything. Okay, but just one product, and it's a team uh, project, and there's a set of projected financial statements over a 4-year period. Each team member does one of the sets of statements. So my goal is uh, hopefully things went well on the joint product costing for everybody, and there was somebody on the team who understood what was happening. So hopefully you got most of those points. That was a 20-point assignment. The process costing is another 20 points. So we're keeping the revised team because my goal is to ensure that as we move into period 3, that everybody comes in with a reasonable number of points. So that's really the goal. So with every team having a team leader who can lay out what we're doing, uh, that should not be a problem. Sometimes that happens, and so I wanted to make sure we correct with that. Does everyone see what we're saying? There's a set of costs out here, and there's a manager, and that manager needs to control these costs in the goal. Then when we get into the mainland, there's another set of costs where we refine the product in the gasoline. And so those costs have to be controlled. And then we're adding these two costs together. So before we added 2 books together to see what was going to happen. Now we got one product, but we adding one set of costs in the goal and another set of costs uh, in the mainland together to get the total cost. So this is not, any kind of major thing. Now, let's look at this situation here. And I think I asked you to look at this before. Suppose your team, had 3 members, and there's a $300 consulting fee. Team member 1 worked 8 hours, team member 2 worked 8 hours, team member 3 works 4 hours. How much money are you gonna give to each team member? You gonna give them all the same thing?
No,
Why not?
because the time put in wasn't split evenly.
Okay. So how would you allocate this $300? 20 hours were worked all total. So the average price per hour was 15. So we multiply 15 times 8, what do we get?
120.
And we'll do that again. But for the person who just worked the 4 hours, they're going to get what?
$60.
So I use this example to sort of illustrate how we're going to be changing in our approach as we work with process costing. It's not like books, different books.
Mr. Boyd, where did you get the
Yes,
$15? Where did you get the $15 from? Did you just made that number?
I divide 300 by 20.
Oh, okay. Ain't got 15. Okay.
Right. That's a good point there. When it's crude, some of the crude is worked on, others is not. And so we're going to use a similar type process looking at the total number of products and how many hours were involved uh, and allocating costs based on that. So you know, I showed you this example. When we get into working with process costing, a similar type thing happens. Now, everything is journal entries. Our new accounts we're working with is work in process 1 and work in process 2. In work in process 1, in stage 1, we buy the raw materials. Then in stage 2, we transfer uh, raw materials in the working process, labor, and overhead. And then we have a special approach we're going to use to determine, a different approach of how much goes from working process 2 to working process 2 from working process 1 if everything is not completed. Then we go to working process 2. We add more raw materials, labor, and overhead. And then we have to determine from this process how much we're going to transfer to finished goods. So working process 1, raw materials, labor, overhead, how much of that cost is transferred to working process 2? Some more raw materials, labor, and overhead added to determine how much goes to finished goods and working process 2. So these are the journal entries essentially saying, okay, in the Gulf we had these costs. Then we need to add the costs from the mainland to these costs to come up with the total cost of the finished product. So let's see if we can look at an example of how this works out. And in our transaction, the quantity scheduled for production is 12,000. The raw materials purchase is 400,000. We transfer 330 to work in process. That's work in process 1. Then we have direct labor in work in process 1, and we have applied manufacturing overhead. And we finish 10,000 units. So we had 12,000 scheduled, but we only finished 10,000 units. The units that are left are 2,000, and they're complete 50% for raw materials and 25% for conversion costs. Before, we just do a portion of the raw materials and all of the conversion costs. Conversion costs are simply the labor and overhead, what we apply to the raw materials to get the finished product. But that's changing, and so we're going to calculate it a different way. So what I want everybody to do is to make the first 4 journal entries. Record the purchase of the raw materials, stage 1. Then I want you to go to stage 2 and record the transfer into work in process of raw materials, labor, and overhead. Can everybody do that? And you can do it on the Word document, and eventually we'll get to the Excel document. Can everybody make those entries?
Dr. Boyd, I
Yes,
printed
sir.
mine out. I printed mine out on paper. Is it fine if I just go ahead and write it on paper?
That's fine. That's fine. That's how we want to start. But I want everybody to make the first 4 journal entries,
Can you make them with us so I can make sure I'm right?
right? So I'll make them with you. So Maya, give me the first journal entry.
I don't even have it pulled up yet. Hold on, give me a minute.
You don't have it pulled up, so how we working together if you don't have it pulled up?
Because I can't find it. You be putting so much stuff on here on Blackboard. I'm trying to figure it out.
I put
Give
it
me
in
one.
order, so that's the last thing in course content.
Our,
So
our
this
first
is
our first journal entry gonna be raw materials, 400,000 debit, and then what's that? Accounts payable for 400,000 credit, and then the second journal entry is gonna be work in process one. That one's gonna be $330 debit, 330,000 debit, and the raw material is gonna be 330,000 credit.
okay, let me just transfer
And then
this.
our direct labor for number three will be work in process, a debit of 272 500,000. Then a credit in cash, which is the labor of 272 500.
Okay, so 330 here for the raw materials. How much was the labor?
The labor was 272 5.
And how much was the overhead?
200,000.
Okay. So these are our costs. Now the question becomes, how much of these costs are we going to transfer out from work in process one to work in process two? See, we got some T accounts here. So the raw materials we said that's how much we purchased was 400,000.
Is it
And
400,000?
no, we bought 400,000, then we transferred out 330.
Okay.
So we're putting that in the work in process one, 330. And then we're going to go and get the labor 272 500 and the overhead 200,000. So 272 500 and 200,000. So we add all these costs up together. How much is our total at this point? We add these up. How much is our total? Yes, don't have a 500 in it.
802 500. 802,000.
I'm gonna take your word for it. 802 500. So how much of the 8025 are we gonna transfer to work in process two? Because we only made 10,000 units. To help us with that, we have this chart here where we make the calculations. And different from before, we're going to do a part of raw materials and a part of the conversion costs, the labor and the overhead. How many units did we start? On the 12,000,
Yes.
how many did we complete?
10,000.
10,000.
How many were partially completed?
2,000. It was, yeah, 2,000.
What was their percentage complete, partially complete?
50%.
They were 50%. So they worked 50% of the time. So the partially completed, if we want to equate that to this 10,000 complete, we got to multiply 50% times 2,000, and we will get what? 1,000, correct?
Say that again. I'm sorry. Multiply 50%. Okay, okay. Gotcha.
We simply are multiplying line 3, 2, and 3. So we're simply multiplying lines 2 times 3.
And
Our
that gives
total,
us,
what?
if we multiply line 2 by 3, that gives us the answer for number 4.
No, 4 is 2 times 3 is how we get 4.
Okay. Yes.
Then
So
4,
yes. Okay.
okay, that's 4, yeah. I'm
Okay.
jumping to 5. 5 is what? 1 plus 4. So that's correct. We just multiply line 2 times 3. That gives us this amount. And so because they only have half the cost in it, we cut them back to 1,000. Then we're going to add line 1 and line 4. And so the total, if we want to look at the equivalent units, it's going to be 11,000. Then we go into the working process account and get the raw materials, which is 330,000.
That's number 6.
Yep, we're just putting the raw materials cost in here. We're going to get the cost per equivalent unit. Remember, we came up with that 15 before. We're going to divide the hours, well, this is the units, into 330,000. So if we divide 11,000 into 333,000, how much do we get? $330,000 divided by 11,000.
30.
30.
Okay, that's 30. So the units transferred, that is the units completed, were 10,000. We'll bring that back down. The cost transfer for direct materials is simply going to be 10,000 times 30, 300,000. Okay, pretty straightforward. Total started, completed, partial completed, what was that percentage? We add those together. The
Are you coming to practice tonight?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna come after the Delta event.
What is the total cost transfer? Is that is that
we have both direct materials and conversion costs. So, and that's what you all gonna do. We're gonna add whatever's on line 9 on both sides. So you all got to do the conversion cost. So we had 330,000 of raw materials. We transferring out 300,000. I want you all to go do the other side and tell me how much cost you transferring out. Did I have an A student today? Chris, you gonna be an A student today?
I'm trying to, Mr. I'm trying to, Mr. Boyd. Trying to slide on through there.
All right. So I need the amount that's gonna be on line 9 for the conversion cost.
Okay.
What's gonna go on the first line?
12,000.
What's gonna go on the second line?
10,000.
What's gonna go on the next line?
2,000. That's how many we got completed. And then
Partially. So
and then
10,000
on our
completed, 2,000 were partially completed.
partially complete. Yeah.
Now, what's our percentage of completion on the partial ones for those
Convert.
costs for the
It's
conversion?
25. It's 25%.
They're only 25%. So we've got to put a 25% on this line. The line 4 is going to be what? How much?
500.
500. Simply 25% of 2,000. So our total equivalent cost is going to be what?
10,500.
10,500. Now we need the total of the conversion cost. That is the labor and the overhead. These two costs. How much is it?
Total cost of working 330, right? Oh no, labor.
These next two numbers.
Go to my back to my key account.
Ugh, I looked up so quick.
You want me to go?
Yes, we
That would
should
just be
see.
crazy. Like, if I would just.
No, we need a fucking show. This is literally insane.
You said what?
Maya Pearson, it's Maya.
Yes, sir.
We hear you.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
So the total cost on line 6 and the conversion is labor, is raw material and labor.
No, labor and overhead.
Labor and overhead. So it's going to be 472,500. 472,500.
So what's going to be our cost per equivalent unit?
So we multiplying. Hold up. 472,500. So we
We multiply,
dividing.
yeah, we
We
divide.
dividing 6 and 5, right? Jeez,
Right.
that's a big number. 472,500 divided by 45.
Okay, 45.
45 would be our units per cost per equivalent. Um,
Transfer it out. 10,000 units.
10,000. That comes down from the units completed, and then 7 times 8. 45 times 10,000.
That should be easy to multiply.
Right. 450,000.
Hmm.
Then we're gonna add these two numbers up, which is gonna give us 750,000 total cost transferred.
That's correct. So we use
Oh,
this chart to come up with the amount that's going to go in this journal entry. So of those costs is going to be 750,000 that's transferred out. So we got a little different way of doing it, but you got the chart, the table to help you always calculate that. So 750,000 is transferred out. How much is left in this account then? That 52,500 left in the account?
yes.
Okay. Okay. So we've completed the cost and we've done everything for stage one, a work in process one, which is the cost in the Gulf. Now we need the mainland costs, and notice what? It gives us these costs. Raw materials purchased, raw materials transferred to work in process, direct labor, flat manufacturing overhead, transferred to finished goods. So let's finish our posting first. So the 750 that's credited here comes in the work in process too. So now we need to make these journal entries. So can you all make these journal entries for work in process two for what we have here? So I want you all to make those journal entries, including determine how much we're going to transfer to finished goods. So I'm going to give you all 10 minutes to do that. And most times, if it works out right, if I've done my work right, these are even numbers. So if you don't get an even number here, then possibly you did something wrong. Or I may have just not have the right things in there. So I want you all now to go through work in process two. Make these 4 entries, including how much is transferred out. Use this item 13 to determine what's transferred out. Make the journal entries, post them to the ledger. Can you all handle that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go ahead and handle that. So I'm gonna give you all 10 minutes.
Dr. Boyd,
Yes.
you said the cost per equivalent unit is going to be a whole number.
Yeah, typically it is.
It's not going to have no decimals behind there.
I hope not. We don't want any
Well,
decimals. But you already there? Is
uh,
everybody else there? Hey, we better get in here in case it acts up too much. So who's going to give me the first journal entry? And no, the journal entries don't change. So, it's a similar thing. You just have to put the amounts in. So how much raw materials did we buy in two?
yeah,
250,000,
yeah, 200, yeah.
and then
About 200.
250,000 to accounts payable. I'm gonna let Chris knock the rest of these out, though. I want him to, get the.
I got it. The work in process 2 raw materials is going to be 150,000 debit and credit. Debit
Okay, so
work in
let's
process 2.
let's let's stop here and post these.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So we're going to go to raw materials and put another 250,000. And we're going to transfer 150 out, correct? To work in process 2. So in the raw materials account at this point, we had 650, correct? That's how much we bought. How much did we transfer out?
Oh shit. Transferred out. Hold up. I missed that one. We
480.
transferred.
Is that 480?
480.
So how much is left in raw materials? $170?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that takes care of the raw materials. What's going to happen with the labor? How much was the labor? How much was the
275.
labor? How
275.
much?
275. 275.
How much was the working? I mean, for the main MOH, how much was that? Is that 200,000 again?
Yes, yes.
So now we got to make that journal entry to determine how much we're going to transfer out. So 275, 200,000. So how much are we going to transfer out? If I add up all of these, how much is it? 750, 150, 275, and 200. How
We
much is
got.
that?
I got 1,375,000.
So this is 1,375,000. How much of this cost is going to go to uh, finished goods? So that's this journal entry. You're supposed to use this chart, right, to do that. So how many units did we start?
12,000.
No,
We
only
only
10.
we not starting with this. Oh, ten
No,
thousand. We don't start with the same units we had from
no.
work in process one.
If they don't have, if we haven't worked on them, they can't come to work in process two.
Oh, okay. So it's 10,000.
That'll be like if work in process one is putting the engine in the car, and you don't put the engine in some of them, then you set it on the work in process two. It's not going to work so well.
Right.
So 10,000. And how many were partially completed? I mean, all the way completed. It says we
Eight 8,000.
8,000. So that means what? 2,000 were partially completed again, correct?
Correct. And 50%, which
So the raw materials is 50%.
yes,
So what's 50% of 2,000? That shouldn't be too hard, is it?
1,000.
Our total equivalent units, when we add 1 and 4, it's going to be what?
9,000.
10,000. So what's our total cost?
150,000. Is that the cost we transfer? Right. Yes. 150,000.
Plus 750. You can't leave out
Oh,
the 750 because that 750 is now a raw material cost.
oh, fuck. I mean, man. Dang. Okay. So 150%. That's a million. 150
How
and
much?
750. It's about 900,000.
Thank you. Are we going to get an even number now?
Yeah, we will. That'll give us 10.
How much is it going to be?
100?
100.
Yeah, that sounds like a good number, 100. And how many
Yeah.
units were transferred?
8,000.
8,000.
Happy I use pencil.
Oh, you glad you used pencil?
Yeah, I'm over here racing.
And so the cost transfer would be what?
800,000.
800,000?
Yeah.
And how much
So I see
conversion
where I messed
cost?
up at.
All right, how much conversion cost did we transfer?
Uh, I haven't did that one yet.
You got that one done, Ashley? All right, y'all work
Not
on
yet.
that. So what? Work on that one and give me a number. What was our percentage completed for the conversion cost?
75%.
75%.
Yep, 75%.
So what's these units going to be then? 75% of 2,000 is what?
1,500.
1,500.
So when we add those together, how much we going to get? Line 1 and line 4?
9,500.
I'll take your word for it. What's our total cost? We're going to add 200 and 275, and that will be what? 475?
Yes, sir.
What's 475 divided by 9,500?
Hello, Dr. Boyd. I think I had got kicked out. I
50.
think I had an answer.
Benny beat you. Benny said 50.
Oh, he already did it. Cool.
Yep. And we're sending out 8,000. So 8,000 times 50 is how much?
400,000.
So how much do we have in this journal entry?
1.2 million.
So you can see, we don't have the detail that we have with job order costing and process, because you got to control the cost. You got a selling price out there ahead of you. And so you got to be on top of the cost. And a lot of time that selling price has to be determined earlier.
Do we
So,
put that 1,200,000 in the working process under the credits
yep.
in IT?
So let's make our journal entry. A&2. So let's go ahead. So we're going to go ahead and post that. So we got 1,200,000. That's going to go to finished goods. That's what's in that journal entry. How much do we have left in work in process?
175,000.
Okay. What's going to be the unit cost of these items? And as we look at that for just a second, as you think about it, we got one journal entry left, sold 5,000 units at 4 times the unit cost. So when we're dealing with items like this, gasoline, etc., they don't worry about a cost ahead of time. because we all have to drive everywhere. So they just whatever they cost, whatever it costs, they just multiply it by this multiple, you know, once the items are completed. So we know that we've got to sell 5,000. We got to put in that cost of goods sold for 5,000. So what's our unit cost?
So hold on, Mr. Boyd. So in the number 14, are we sold 5,000 units at 4 times unit cost? Are we multiplying the 5,000 by the 4 and putting 20,000 in right there?
No.
Got to figure out what the unit cost is first. $150.
So selling 5,000, so we need a unit cost. So we can look at it a couple of ways. Easy way is what? 8,000 completed, costs $1.2 million. $1.2 million divided by 8,000 equals what?
150.
Mm.
So we look at what we transferred in, dollars, what was the quantity? So the unit cost is 150. So when we get ready to determine
Professor
cost of
Boyd,
goods, yes,
on my template, the unit cost was already on there. So when we have homework assignments, will it be like that, or we have to find it
I
ourselves?
was just accident today.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
damn.
So can you show us how to do the unit cost one more time then?
All we did was took this number here, 1,200,000, and we divided it by this number here, 8,000. Okay, that's all we did. Total dollars divided by total quantity gives us a unit cost of 150. Got it? Everybody have it? And if you look over here, you might see 100 plus 50 is 150 also. So there is some uniformity there. So we've got to multiply, if we sell 5,000 units, we've got to multiply 5,000 times 150. So what's our cost going to be for the units we sold?
So cost of goods sold is going to be 750,000.
It's
Our
going to be,
total cost for what we sold it for will be 3 million.
let's put 7. So we got the credit finished goods for 750. Then we got the debit cost of goods sold 750. How much is left in finished goods? How much is left in finished goods? That 450,000.
Yeah.
So now we need a selling price. And we said the selling price was going to be 4 times the unit cost. So if the unit cost is 150, what's selling price going to be?
$600.
600. We just simply multiply 150 by 4. And our total sales are going to be what?
3 million.
Will we? I don't know. What we at now? I'm gonna miss some shit.
Dr. Boyd, show us where you're entering. Oh, okay.
So it's more holistic. People got to pay for the gas. When process costing, that's typically the case. So they're not as concerned about controlling the cost. Whatever the costs are, Exxon Mobil, all those companies, they pay bonuses, pay their execs. And because it's a small unit that you're buying, but everybody's buying it, they don't worry about, the raw materials and labor to in terms of a fine point. So you can see this is a lot simpler. You weren't doing a whole lot of calculation, gave you
Where
manufacturing overhead, etc.
I have a question. Where did the 600 come from?
What's 600?
The 5,000 times 600, like on the cash
Okay,
sales.
150 was the cost.
Hmm.
The selling price is 4 times cost.
Right.
So 4 times 150 is 600.
Oh, okay.
The selling cost is oh, they came off a number. Oh, okay, okay. So
It
5,000.
says up here,
Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got you. I see what
sold
it says.
4,000 units at 4 times the unit cost.
14.
So a lot of that preliminary calculation we didn't have to worry about with our process costing. So the big thing is making the transfer journal entries, the transfer from work in process one to work in process two, work in process two to finished goods, and you got a chart that shows you exactly how to do that. Now, of course, we got to get our cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold done. Those favorite tables you all like to work with. So we said cost of goods manufactured always comes from what account? Work in process account. So when I look in this account, I know that the answer is going to be what?
In the working process?
Yeah, I have to go to work in process two. And so I know then that my cost of goods manufactured is going to be what? I already know the answer. Y'all better not get old, boy. Y'all forgetting things.
Direct. So we going out of working process one, correct?
Uh-uh.
1.2 million.
Okay, 1,200,000. That's the answer. Based on how much we transferred to finished goods. Now you're not adding up books, but you are adding up work in processes. So we're gonna add work in process one, work in process two. All right, so let's go to work in process one. And we purchased what, 400,000 in raw materials, right?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
70,000 left. So therefore, raw materials used is 330. That's right in this account, correct? 330. Then 272, 500, and 200,000.
So hold on. We add purchases.
That's what you've been doing all the time.
I always have issues with this cost of goods manufactured because I don't be really knowing where to pull the numbers from.
Pull the numbers for work in process one from the work in process account. So everybody see that. All of those numbers on there are from the work in process one account. We have 52.5 left. The total was what, 802, 500. And And so the cost of goods manufactured in work in process one is going to be the cost we transfer it over, which is the 750,000. Got it? Does everybody see where the numbers came from for work in process one? We simply go to the work in process one T account and get these numbers: 330, 272, 500, 200, 802, 500. Subtract the ending work in process, and we get that 750 that went over here.
Can we also pull that just from the problem itself?
Why not just pull it from the T account? So let's see if we can now go to work in process two. So that's the next thing on here. So we got 750. We'll make 750 the beginning inventory. Then we purchase another 150. No, we didn't purchase 150. How much did we purchase?
We purchased 250,000.
250. Now ending work in process two inventory was what? How much did we have in that T account? 250 was 100,000. So the raw material was used is what? 900,000. So once again, if we want to find that 900,000, we go to work in process two, add 750 and 150. We add the 750 and the 150. We got 900,000
Dr. Boy, where you get the 100,000 from on the list ending inventory?
because we bought 250 and we transfer it out 150.
Oh, okay.
We bought
Okay.
250, transfer it out 150. You know you're going back into that anyway because your costs here uh, are 900,000. So you know that this number has to be 900,000. So if this is 1,750,250, then ending inventory has to be 100. So it's 900,000.
All
What's
right.
our direct labor in work in process two? So we're just coming straight out of that account.
275,000.
And applied overhead was what? 200,000 again, correct?
200,000. Yep, correct.
So what is the total manufacturing cost in work in process two? And we said it was 1,375,000. So 1,375,000.
Yep.
And we had left over what? 175.
175.
We had left over 175,000. And so that means that what? 1,200,000 was transferred out, correct? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. 1,375 minus 175. Okay. Now when I add these numbers together, I don't get 1,200,000, right? We
No.
can go. Okay. So that's why I got this new column in here, overlap costs. Okay. So when we have overlapping costs, that is the 750, the 750 was here, and then it's transferred over there. We have to subtract out all the overlapping costs. So for the 7. And you can go through the rest of these. So subtract it out of 0. And so apply these over. We got subtract it out here too. So just anywhere you have that number in, that overlapping cost, you got to subtract it out. So let's see, if we 330 plus 900 minus 750, should that give us 650? Is this number 650? So I'm just
So we're gonna add work in process 1 and work in process 2. Then we're gonna subtract the 750,000.
get the overlapping cost we subtract. Let me. So 330 plus 900 minus 750 is going to give us what? 330 plus 900 minus 750. How much is that?
$480.
And I'll take your word for it, 480. Labor, when we add those together, how much is the labor? 272 and 275. How much is that? No, this one is 400,000.
547, 500.
547, 500.
Mhm.
So when we add the total manufacturing costs, and once again we take out this minus 750 again, because we aren't going to charge it twice. So our total cost is what? We add these three numbers, 480, 547, 500, and 400,000. What's our total cost if we add those up? I don't have
One
my
million
Excel.
four hundred. 1,427,500.
1,427,500. And if we add these two numbers, how much? 52.5 and 175. How much is that?
$2,275.
Subtract that from that, and we get to our 1,112,000. So everywhere there's overlapping costs, where that 750 is in, you just take it out. But your answer has got to be 1,200,000. Okay. And so at the end of the day, that number that we transfer, that's the answer. The sub numbers come from the working process 1 and 2. So we just pull these numbers in directly. But then everywhere the 750 is in an extra time, we just take it out to get the 1,200,000. Can we do a cost of goods sold and gross margin? What were the sales? $3 million, right? How much did we transfer the cost of goods sold? 7,000,002. That is our cost of goods
Yep.
manufactured. We write that number down. What was our ending finished goods? We said our ending finished goods was what? 450, right? And so the unadjusted cost of goods sold is 750. And we don't have an adjustment, so 750. So our gross margin is what? That's all we want. 2,250,000. Is that correct?
Yep.
So that's basically how we handle process costing. It's not as detailed, and you do have to calculate those amounts. Now, for your problem, you got this Excel spreadsheet in there, and you got your responsible team member and everything. Everybody doesn't have to worry about this part, but some of the problems have this in it. Some people you should be able to go and make your journal entries, put them in your T accounts, just change the names of these just work in process 1 and work in process 2. And then all you got to have is your cost of goods manufactured statement and your cost of goods sold statement, and you're done. So you do have this template. Work with this to work that problem. Are there any questions? So team leaders, you should have on here who's responsible for what. So lay that out, then go ahead and work the problem. And that's the last that you will see of this information. Okay, that's the last that you're going to see of job order, joint product costing, and process costing. Uh, in those methods, we're trying to record what has happened. So we're always looking at things after the fact. But the reason, it's called managerial accounting is because we have to begin to look at things planning ahead. And so for the rest of the course, we're going to be planning ahead. So instead of you being given the quantities, you will have to determine the quantities. Essentially, and we're going to be working around your product. So for the product that you have, there's 4 sets of projections, and you have to determine what quantity is going to be needed to lose 100,000. Then the break even, what quantity will cause you to make 1,000,000, and what quantity will cause you to make 2,000,000. And so I've given you the quantities all the time before. Now in the planning process, because you're making a product, you're going to tell me how many of your product that you need to make so that you lose 100,000, that you break even, that you will make $1,000,000, then you make $2,000,000. Each person on the team is responsible for one of those years. If we happen to have a team with 5 on it, then they'd have to go 5 years. We'll see how that works out. So we'll begin to talk about that on Tuesday a little bit. You know, you present your products on Tuesday, so you should, you know, I'll give you an idea, example how to do it. It's simple, you know, you just PowerPoint with an image of your product, number one, and then number two, what are your costs going to be? Any question? I'll try to be on Monday at 5:30 in case there are any questions about the problem that you're working. Or you can email me at any time. So if there are any problems. But that's the 20 points and we're done. So you got 40 points earned for this period. Anything else for the good of the cause? I would try to have the grading finish this weekend. Actually, because I had to do my day class, which has many more people than you all have, and grade all of their individual stuff. But my plan is to have it done by the end of this week. So by Monday, you'll know what the 8-week looks like. You know, corrected for what we've done since then. Okay, so you all have a good weekend. I'll be doing a lot
Can
of
you post
grading.
a video, Mr. Boyd?
Yep, we will post the video.